So I wanted to put my mental energy into something very focused and productive right now, so I'm going to respond to some comments. This guy says, bruh, I get removing the Adderall, but weed is overkill and kinda dumb to stop. By the way, you can approach life with fun and encourage and engagement, and weed meditation is great with weed and psychedelics. So I agree with you, frankly. Like, I think drugs have uses, especially like if like I have a prescription for Adderall, so like I sought out a very medical way to solve a problem that I believe to be associated with ADHD at the time, and I still do. I still think that ADHD is real. There's definitely an ADHD type brain, but and I think Adderall is sort of like an augment to fasting. But ultimately, I do like the ADHD. I just have to learn systems for managing it. I have to write down everything I need to do. I have to meditate every day. I have to like take time off, like taking time, like designated break periods of like 3 days to a week would probably do really good to like help me get my mind off of work and then come back to work better or work on other things. So there's definitely a high degree because even then it takes off pressure to work, and then I can reattack work and refocus on work from the perspective of getting work done. And having these systems in place is very helpful. Parastam is very helpful. Lion diet is very helpful. I find I don't really like if my gut is healthy and I'm having high metabolism, like as I did more frequently in my teens. Since my teens, my gut went really south, largely because of chronic consumption of artificial sweeteners. This is why I am so big and insistent that no one consume artificial sweeteners ever. They are totally evil, because chronic consumption of artificial sweeteners for me diminished the effectiveness of the carnivore diet to the point where I left it, and then ruined my gut. So even years after I got off of them, I had diarrhea continually. And I've also done enough health coaching to have seen many, many cases. Every case, I'll put it this way, every single case of irritable bowel syndrome I've ever seen has had something to do with artificial sweeteners. Don't ever consume them. So yes, and then I started smoking weed a lot more because I felt gut issues all the time. And then since correcting my gut issues to the point where I'm having solid poops in the carnivore diet, I now don't feel the need to smoke weed, and I can perform at a very high level consistently. And I got to the point where I'd smoke weed occasionally, and I'd be like, "Oh, this is really throwing me off." So, excuse me. It's not about removing weed. It's not saying I will never consume any product with any percent of THC in it, absolutely ever. I'm never going to consume any alcohol again. I'm never going to consume nicotine again. I'm just done with those substances. It would have to be. I just don't. I'm just done with alcohol. I mean, maybe if there were some like health kombucha type, like kombucha, I'd still drink kombucha. But kombucha, like, so I guess kombucha, like, has some alcohol in it. Like, I'm not, like, I can't ever have any. But to anything that has such an alcohol content that it's destroyed the gut, the microbes in it, I'm also, like, I'm very aware. Like, I'm not, like, if I ever had another drink, I would, like, go off the rails or something. Or like, ever smoked anything with nicotine or ever, like, vaped anything with nicotine on purpose or by accident, I would go off the rails because I just recognize that that's not something I want to do based on the effect it has. And the reason I can do that is I meditate every day, and meditating every single day is really challenging. It is actually a very challenging thing to do. You may not think it, but to maintain that habit, because the mind, you will realize after I've meditated for over a decade, well over a decade, been meditating since I was 8 years old, on and off, because I thought it was cool. I'd read about it in books, like Aragon. He learned to meditate, and like that gave him superpowers. So I was like, I'm gonna read the minds of the ants by meditating, and I couldn't read the minds of the ants most of the time, but I did learn to understand my own mind, and that's a really fun part about meditating, is I actually see my mind every day. And by journaling's also a hard habit to maintain, because we get into these routines, and journaling requires like constant self-reflection. Like it's just like to make time to just sit down and write about your day, like every day. Doing anything every day is hard. I mean, like if you make yourself eat a good breakfast every single day, that's probably challenging as well. Maybe that's something I should do. Maybe that would help. I don't know. Like you see, like I'm thinking about these things and I write them down, because the difference between science and fucking around is writing shit down. So it's this narrative that I'm involved with, that I interact with, and I feel like this attitude, this habit, this pattern I get involved in is enthusiasm for life through engagement. And engagement with my own conscious mind being the mechanism by which I attain enthusiasm for life, and enthusiasm for life, of course, being entheos, which is God within. I think this is the Holy Spirit. Literally, like I ended up converting to Christianity as a result of conversations I had with myself that started with, how do I continue increasing my level of conscious awareness? And I would measure it by things like my ability to like perform in chess, my ability to perform in jiu-jitsu, my ability to read and comprehend books at speed, my ability to creatively engage in endeavors to make money, my ability to pick up women at the time. I was into picking up women at the time. So that was something I would do, is I would pick up women in higher energy level states. I would just amp myself through meditation and breath work and really good dieting and exercise. Like, I just felt so good. Like, I would just go up to any woman and be like, yo, what's up? And like, they would just kind of like either react to me well or not, but I would just be able to pick up women in this way. My wife doesn't watch my YouTube channel, so it's out of respect, though. I think it's fine that there's different areas of life. Like, because she doesn't frequently watch it, I don't know. Maybe she will. Maybe she's not telling me. I don't know. Either way, though, it's all intent. Like, at every point in time, I'm kind of like keeping my wife, and I don't want to like tell stories about me sleeping with other women to like millions of people. Like, I don't want to become well known for that, because it just feels like disrespecting my wife. Because I'm like it's not, but it's and that's where YouTube is interesting, because it's definitely a public image, but it's a pseudo-private image as well, because if you make enough content, then only people who are really interested in your content will actually watch your content with any quantity. So, and then also, like, what are the odds she watches this video? I'm just rambling, because this is my thought process. Like, at the end of the day, it's like, fine, they should be like, she'd just come to me. If she was really bothered by it, I would probably just be more discreet. Like, I would still say the same things, but I would just, I mean, there's just ways to approach it where it's like, you can tell people the truth, but not, I don't know, these are my thoughts. I like respecting my wife. I love my wife. I value my wife a lot. Like, she and I have a very special thing, and it's quite nice. So make of that what you will. Go get married if you think it's something that would suit you. I find something that suits me as someone who had no problem getting woman. I mean, it's also just weird. Like, ultimately, like, I've come to view it as weird through Christianity. I no longer find that, like, I get it, but it's through understanding that I decided I didn't want to fornicate. I'm not like, oh, fornicating, it was so good. Yeah, fornicating. Oh, but I can't. No. It's not like with nicotine or alcohol. Like, I just meditate, and I actually do stuff to optimize my health, and I track and record it over time. In like hours, I can work focused, jiu-jitsu performance. Really, jiu-jitsu. I think that's why I need to do jiu-jitsu, because I can't really, like, it's just, I need to, like, if I can kick other people's butts, like at the butts of high-level fighters, or hang with them at least, I'm like, I am doing well. My brain is working well. My body is working well. If I can do that and not get injured and feel good, that means what I'm doing is working. If I continually get better physically and mentally, that's kind of my benchmark. And by doing that, because I found that, like, I'm not the most naturally athletic person when you talk about just, like, eat crappy food, don't, like, just eating crappy food. If I eat crappy food, I go to shit. I cannot perform at the highest level. But if I eat really effing well, and I just research exactly, like, what works to increase my metabolism consistently over time, while increasing, like, my body's uptake of protein. I've studied Jack LaLanne. I've studied, like, all the thought processes of, like, anyone I can find who's an amazing athlete who's written anything coherent about nutrition and how you can use it to improve health. I've just read all about it, and I'm just completely obsessed with that line of thinking. So I'm not saying I'm quitting THC in any capacity or CBD in any capacity forever. I'm just going to gain clarity over my use of these substances. And I didn't use these substances for the majority of my life. And I did remarkable things without the use of these substances. And I believe my knowledge of diet and performance is better now that there are more demands placed on me. So my goal is to continue. I'm going to return to as close to the state that I was in as a teenager as possible, add in more sleep, improve my gut function on carnivore at doing the same style of training that I was doing as a high school wrestler, and using that as the main driver of metabolism to improve my mental performance, stamina in all areas of life, and my meditation and journaling practice and practice of making videos, practice of doing things that force me to self-reflect. Like I just carve wood. I'll play chess, I'll carve wood. Like it's just, I'm looking at this and I'm carving it. It's giving me feedback about my cognitive tactile communication. Like music. Like if I play music. Like if I keep creating these situations, I walk, I hike, where I can know myself and know my performance in a way where I can continue doing that and optimizing that in a way that makes me the happiest in life, which it just does. Like I believe that it does, and it does. It gives me this sense of satisfaction. Then I'm just going to keep doing that because it gives me far more dopamine than smoking weed. Then he says, if you want to smoke weed, try a ball vape. It's like toking, but with dry herb vaping. It's more potent, 70% less particulate matter, and produces free decarb weed for edibles instead of tar and ash hand. Doesn't dirty or clog your bong. It also produces reclaim for tinctures. Yeah, at lower heat combustion, and it uses a PID that if you dab, you can use with a 5 millimeter banger for perfect reliable dabs as well. Yeah, I agree with you there. That's another experiment I could run at some point in the future where I've gained enough experiential data on the state without weed to the point where I would be like, okay, maybe I'll reintroduce weed at some lower level. But I view life as an experience and something to be optimized and finely tuned with different diet variables, work variables, sleep variables. Go with tradition in a lot of ways, like things that have worked for other people, because you don't want to try everything. I'm not going to try every drug. Like, I just have no desire to, because it's just too many variables. Like, I'm going to focus on optimizing the variables I have now until I reach a point where I'm so optimized that I've derived a bunch of principles that have then suggested to me other new variables to add in. And I'm going to keep discerning that through meditation, through business, through teaching my brother, through like talking to people, through making these videos, through journaling, through coaching people in my life on an ongoing basis. Like I just constantly am inquiring, always have an inquiring mind, always have an optimizing mind. And yeah, do that experiment. If you like the ball vape, then use the ball vape. And I would just say my response to you would be, I kind of basically agree with you, but try saying yes to everything you already think, which is solid, and ask yourself if I have any ways of knowing how I'm performing in life, measure, like improving that performance consistently across multiple domains. Like say, I don't know. Say, what's the principle of performance, and then optimize that principle across many domains and use your own judgment of your own results as your best indicator of what to explore next in a playful and engaging way.